Hello and welcome to the Ending Body Burnout Show. We are your hosts, Chris and Philly, co-founders of a multi-award-winning functional medicine practice, serving busy people with energy, mood, and gut issues.
While busyness, addictive doing, people-pleasing, and perfectionism might be the norm, it's not normal, and it's a major contributor to health issues.
Our goal with this show is to give you a holistic root cause approach to healing your body so that you don't have to continue doctor or diet hopping or popping a gazillion supplements hoping something might stick.
So get ready to heal your body, get your spark back, deeply connect with yourself, and step into the life of your dreams.
Let's dive in.
Hello. Today we are joined with Dr. Keri Krieger, who is a acupuncturist and doctor of traditional Chinese medicine, to have a really important conversation about the impact that stress and unresolved burnout has on perimenopause and how to care for yourself in this phase of big change and eldership. Now, if you're a man or a woman who is listening and you're not dealing with perimenopause or you're not in that phase, this will still be a really important podcast for you to listen to, because according to the stats, 12% of the world's population are moving through perimenopause. So there's definitely things that you can learn to help support your partner, wife, mum, friend, sister, daughter, that he's not as the stuff that we talk about is not the type of things that we learn at school or that we are educated in. So it's a really important conversation to have, and I'm so excited to have it with Dr. Keri. She is lots of fun. I actually met Dr. Keri at a retreat I went to back in 2025. She came in as a facilitator to talk about women's health. And she is just so much fun. She is a joy, and she is a woman of a lot of wisdom. So I know that you're going to love her. Also, Dr. Keri will be coming into our Ending Body Burnout Method program next week, which we're super excited about. We're actually going to focus on emotional well-being from a Chinese medicine perspective, really looking at the kidneys and the adrenals and this winter season that we're moving into in Australia. So it's going to be a really beautiful coaching session where she'll guide us through, or our clients through, how to support ourselves during this season. So if you are a client, come along live. It's always better live, but of course the replay will be there. And if you are interested in joining our Ending Body Burnout Method program, our doors are actually opening in just a few weeks, which is so exciting. We are opening in June. You will be able to watch the replay back of Dr. Keri's session, plus get access to Chris and I. We can start looking into your health issues from a physical functional medicine perspective, and also help guide you through metaphysical rewiring and healing. So if you would like to find out a bit more about our 6-month Healing Accelerator program, just head down to the show notes and check out the Ending Body Burnout Method. Jump on the waitlist if you are interested, because the benefit of doing that is, one, you get first dibs on a spot. We only accept a limited amount of people per launch, because both of the options of working with us inside the program includes one-on-one support. So we have to cap that so we don't burn ourselves out working with too many people. And also you will get $500 worth of early bird bonuses if you're on the waitlist and you join during the early bird period. So check that out in the show notes as well. Now, a little bit about Dr. Keri, the official stuff. So as I said before, she is an acupuncturist and a doctor of traditional Chinese medicine. She has 2 decades of clinical experience. At the dawn of the wellness era, Keri forged a practice in some of the world's leading health retreats, integrating traditional healthcare and spa therapies. Now a passionate writer, practitioner, and educator focusing on women's health and perimenopause. She offers courses for women to better understand perimenopause. She also mentors health practitioners, most recently with her exciting new project called the Stab Club. So let's dive into today's episode.
G'day and welcome to this episode of the Ending Body Burnout Show. Philly and I have a guest on the call today. Dr. Keri, welcome.
Hello, and thank you for having me. I'm excited to see where we go with this conversation.
I'm so excited too. Last time we caught up in real life was back in October at Melissa's Exhale retreat when you came in to do a women's health session, which was just so beautiful.
It was really lovely. It was really, really lovely.
So lovely. So I'm really excited to share you with our people and to listen to all your wise wisdom.
Oh my goodness. Here's hoping I can bring it, right?
I know you will. Okay, so we do love, especially guests who are working in the health space as practitioners, they often have their own story as to why they do what they do to navigate the whole like health industry to get the healing and the results that you want. So are you happy to dive into, I guess, like your own burnout story and how that connected to perimenopause, which is what we'll focus on during the interview?
Yeah. Absolutely. And look, there's obviously a 25 words or less version of this story. And then there is the, longer extended version that we might have if we were at a slumber party. But I think for today's story, I think it's pertinent to start in my early 30s. And I think a lot of women have, at any age, tricky experiences, whether it's ill health, family issues. For me, I was 33-ish and about to get divorced. I'd been traveling the world. It was a kind of one of those, many I think that we have across our life, just that aha moment of what do I want? Where am I going? What am I not okay with? And in our early 30s, from a TCM perspective, so I am a doctor of Chinese medicine, not a MD doctor, but we've got energy at that age. We generally speaking have got energy at that age, whether we've had children yet or not. We can kind of hit these hard places in life, push too hard, burn the candle at every which end, have hard experiences happen, and just kind of keep going.
Yeah.
We know we're not quite right. We know things aren't optimal. I don't think I would have used that language back then, but you can just keep pushing through. And so I certainly, despite, my education, I graduated with my Bachelor of Health Sciences at the ripe old age of 23. So at 33, I still had a degree of understanding and education, but my physical embodied experience was, well, if I'm not literally on the bathroom floor unable to move, then I must be fine, and you just keep going.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that I would suggest to women if I met myself at that age now, or if I met them at that age, to say, I know that you can keep going, and I know that you do still just wake up in the morning and you're able to get to work, to get the kids to school, to do the things. But I would love you to pay attention to these signs, that kind of anxiousness, the sleep that isn't ideal, weight gain, weight loss, all of those things that we just sweep under the rug. I came up with a framework since then, which I call the lifestyle load. And I use that language instead of asking women if they're feeling stressed or anxious, because I think so many of us are just feeling stressed. And again, you think if you're not on the bathroom floor, then you must be fine.
Yeah.
And I break that down into big T trauma that we might have experienced at some point, small T trauma, that's just kind of stuff that's happening that, again, I don't know, why do we just keep pushing through? I'm not sure. And then the kind of stress that we think is urgent, I've got to get back to that email, I've got to answer that phone call, I've got to do all of these extracurricular things. And so I definitely had some small T stuff happening, and I had some big T stuff happening that I was just very cleverly tucking under rugs wherever I went. And I know a lot of women can relate to that. And so I think for most of my 30s and my early 40s, I was just in this rolling state of 3 months down, 9 months back up. 3 months down, 9 months back up, where you're just never actually sick, you're never actually unwell. But again, I didn't have that language then. I wasn't optimal.
Yeah.
And you see a counselor here, and you go to an energy healer there, and you take some ashwagandha somewhere else, and you hope for the best.
Yeah.
And that's me with all of my education, And then in my late 40s, I'm 50, I turned 50 last year. In my late 40s, I had another one of those hard experiences where a bunch of stuff in my life changed very suddenly. I didn't see it coming. And yes, it was hard. And yes, I think anybody would have had some issues, loss of confidence, some fear, some concerns about cash flow, other sorts of things. But it just completely floored me. And I was very sick very quickly for about 18 months, mentally and emotionally unwell. And I think I probably caught some virus or something. I didn't necessarily look at it from that medical perspective soon enough. And again, with all my education, it's so helpful to have somebody else to help guide you through these processes. And I'm sure we're all nodding. We're all nodding.
Yeah.
I know the perfect band-aid for this. It's like, babe, we don't need a band-aid. We need some like proper rehabilitation, maybe a tiny bit of surgery. We don't have a band-aid big enough for this. And and I can laugh because it was like 2022, 23. So I've had some time and distance. And I took a proper 12 months off work. I lived on my savings for 12 months. It was a proper go to ground moment. If you don't look at this now, things are like, I just knew something isn't right here at the heart of it. And realistically, it was relatively simple. I mean, I say 12 months, I think most of us would be very fearful if you were told in advance you were going to need 12 months to lie down. But in hindsight, I can't help but wonder if I had have stopped at some point beforehand, if there had been something internally instead of waiting for the big external whack on the head, if I had have had that internal knowing to stop before I had to stop, maybe it would have only been 6 months. Maybe I would have been able to handle that situation that happened differently. Now that's not where the learning was. Clearly, the learning was in actually stopping. But it's, that is the gift. And I guess we segue here into the pros and cons and framing of that peri-menopause framework. I could have blamed being in perimenopause. Realistically, it had nothing to do with being 46. My body had just had enough accumulative trauma with a big T, trauma with a small t, putting a lot of things that didn't necessarily need to be prioritized at the top of the list. And enough was enough.
I love it.
Yeah. So many newer clients, like women in perimenopause age, it's like, I think it's just perimenopause. And it's like,
girlfriend, that's lovely.
Yes and no. Not just.
No.
There's some deeper things going on underneath there.
This is Philly and I we just recorded a podcast prior to about birthing, and we were speaking about miscarriages and our experience with that. And I think as humans, we're differently, men, women, but similarly, there's this way of pushing through that we get to a phase of our lives where it's just like that pushing through doesn't serve us in the same way that it used to serve us as youngins. I don't know why my timer just came on there. But yeah, we just get to this point, and you push through the birthing experience, and the baby comes out. You push through creativity, and the thing happens. But then all of a sudden, we get to a point where we need to shift. We need to pivot, don't we?
Mm.
For men
And
and
I
women,
do.
but specifically, we're talking
Oh, well, I mean, it affects our physiology differently, but that
very,
pushing
yeah,
through, I don't really know that I question whether it serves at all. Like, I think if
yeah,
you've got to get that assignment in by the midnight deadline, well, sure, like you push through for that afternoon or that night or that day or something, but pushing through isn't
it's
like 6 months.
temporary.
Oh,
It's not a
Yeah,
surely.
marathon
it's a
like a
No,
short
sprint.
term win, long term
yeah,
loss,
Yeah.
isn't it?
yeah.
What do you think was the root cause of that for you?
Oh,
That was
look,
kind
I
of like
do.
stemming that.
Uh, what was causing me to keep pushing on?
Yeah, which
Yeah,
essentially,
look,
yeah.
I think a little bit of the cultural norm. Like
Mm,
again, you have to have had a cancer diagnosis or something has to be really very wrong with you to be kind of allowed
mhm.
to stop. And I think, culturally too, I was single, living on my own, making lifestyle choices that required a certain level of income and output and all of the things. And again, you know, in a body where your physiology isn't constantly in fight or flight, I wonder what kind of different choices you get to make.
Mm,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like it's not denying the culture that we live in. I'm certainly not denying rent prices right now or property prices or whatever else that people are genuinely finding a level of hardship around.
Mm,
And also, it's very difficult to see your way through those situations when you are pumped full of cortisol and adrenaline
Yeah.
and estrogen isn't being cleared and
mm,
progesterone is nowhere in sight
mhm.
and you're just clinging on to the next cup of coffee and a Kit Kat, hoping for the best.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So during that year that you prioritized for
Mm,
resting, slowing down, healing, was it
yeah.
rest alone that allowed you to heal, or
Um,
what did the healing journey look like?
think it was rest. And again, in Peri, and this is always so fascinating for me to be able to share because I think a lot of women that I talk to are almost cranky at themselves for not knowing how their body works. And I think that can be a really great stepping point to learn more about yourself, but also we weren't ever taught. It wasn't in our schooling systems. We're not having those conversations with our GPs. It's just not something that is even in our consciousness, possibly until we're trying to get pregnant and can't, or until we're in pain each month, or something else happens, like you hit peri and feels like it's a complete shock. Um, I recognized that my first instinct was to go to the GP and have someone tell me what was wrong with me. It was a really fascinating internal program
Mm,
to actually see that was even in there.
yeah.
And I came home and I said to my partner at the time, like I said to Mark, I was like, I just went to the doctor hoping that they were going to give me a pill to make this better. Like it was just
Mm,
such a bizarre on moment of how and maybe I wasn't really paying attention to what my body was trying to tell me. So there was, yes, rest. Like all of a sudden, I wasn't doing 5K walks every morning and I wasn't going on hikes on the weekend and I wasn't doing all of the other so-called really good things for you that involved a lot of output.
mm,
But I was really dismantling a lot of unhelpful junk in my head, truthfully.
mm, yeah.
And that's not sexy, and you can't sell that really easily. And
Mm. But it's the
um,
most beautiful work that anyone can do for themselves,
yeah,
and probably the hardest.
the hardest for sure. And then to actually pay attention to what do I actually need? Well, I don't know, Kerry, you've been practicing this thing called acupuncture and Chinese medicine for the last 20 years. Maybe how about you go and get treatment once a fortnight? Oh, there's a novel idea. So I lived my own medicine properly, probably for the first time. It was very,
Mm.
very humbling and very, very effective.
Thank you so much for sharing that, like really transparently as well, because I think people, like especially women and men, but I feel like there's a lot of shame sometimes for women when it's like I should know these things, like, and I do know the things that I should be doing, and then hearing that from you who had been already practicing Chinese medicine and natural therapies for what was it, 20, 25 years?
Yeah. Well, it's like I stepped into my first class 30 years ago.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. And it is a journey too, though. I'm sure that there would have been along the way practicing it, but then the depth of which you then practiced it during that healing phase and ongoing.
Really embodied it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask you all the things about perimenopause because you are the Peri-Meno fairy, God fairy. So let's talk about symptoms first of all, because I feel like there's a lot of you said earlier we just weren't educated about this. I think even back when I went to high school, there wasn't, like, yes, we had sex ed, but there wasn't a lot of information really around like your female hormone cycle and, even as a teenager. So we definitely wouldn't have got taught any of that about menopause back then when we went to school. And I think part of this is there's a lot of women who think that they are only having perimenopause symptoms if they're having like the traditional hot flushes, sleepless nights where they're like throwing the the doona off their body, or psycho, like mood imbalances, massive mood swings. But there are so many.
I want to kill everybody.
I want to kill everyone. So they're kind of like the classic ones. But what are some other symptoms that might show up? And again, I just want to also pre-frame or reinforce that it's not just that your hormones are out of whack, because there's going to be other things going on. But what are some common things that women see during this transition?
Look, genuinely, there can be, I mean, like you say, there's hot flushes and all of that kind of hot stuff. Brain fog gets talked about an awful lot, and sometimes it is to do with estrogen. Sometimes it is more to do with stress. I think sometimes too, women come in and they're just feeling off. It's not even one particular thing. I mean, we can list all of the ones that we know: joint pain, hot flushes, itchy scalp, moodiness, sleep issues. But then there's often just this internal, I'm not quite right on some level, or I'm not feeling as confident. And they might put it down to some weight gain or some changes in shape or size. The phrase, I'm doing everything the same, but I now don't fit into my pants, or I am, looking differently. I think we do start to notice some of the more subtle changes in our skin texture and tone, and that is affecting us just at that subtle level where we just don't feel that vibrancy, and we want that back. We're still trying to do the 25,000 million things, and we're just not quite sure anymore.
Yeah. When I was diving into like very deep into signs of perimenopause, probably like it was the age in which I was coming up to, and then also like, there's a lot of like women too. I was quite shocked that it's like basically any symptom really, or someone could have a previous chronic health symptom that just worsens.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
Why is that the case? Like, what's happening at a physical level that's causing?
More than anything, perimenopause will tend to uncover what's already there more than cause or create.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, by, on average, menopause, which is the 12 months of not having had a period, occurs at around, according to stats, like age 51, 52, right? Yeah. At that point, estrogen and progesterone, on my fun little graph here, are quite low.
But if watching this via YouTube.
Just imagine a graph going up and down and my hands waving randomly in the air. But in our early 40s, things aren't often they aren't actually going down, they're changing and oscillating. So from a estrogen point of view, because they are the guy that we're all talking about incessantly. Every time I open my phone, there's someone there saying estrogen, blah, blah. And I've
Yeah.
just stopped opening Instagram because I keep being told about estrogen every
Yeah.
time I open.
The algorithm knows that you're an acupuncturist that helps women in perimenopause.
Algorithm. Give me a break, algorithm. Just give me some cute dogs or something. But yeah, in our early 40s, there's that characteristic fluctuation. So all of a sudden, you weren't having any issues with your period, or especially if you already were and you were just getting by, or able to mask, or able to take painkillers, or able to just teeth and bear it and have 24 hours out. It's a real call to say, hang on a minute, we need to sort this out right now. And from a Chinese health perspective, peri is one of the things that they call a golden opportunity. So there's 3 golden opportunities. There's our period each month, and we have that opportunity to really optimize in our to use that word again, we have the opportunity to really take care of our health and improve how we're going to experience our health in that following month. Postpartum is the second golden time where you have that opportunity, if you've had children, to take really, it's that 41st days and the concept of confinement and those sorts of things, where you really, in an ideal world, are nourished very, very well to take care of your health as you continue to maybe have more children or raise your family. So peri is that next third golden opportunity to set yourself up for really beautiful aging. And so if we're really looking at having a healthy old age, this is the time. You wake up at 40 and go, I want to be a robust 80-year-old lady running up hills, doing cool things with my grandkids, raising my, I don't know, flock of tiny cavoodles. And here's where I'm going to set that up by really paying attention to my health, sorting that cycle nonsense out that I've been putting off for the last 10 years, really take care of myself now.
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about the 2 other phases. So, and if we connect that back to burnout, it's probably pretty rare. One, because girls, teenagers, early adults just aren't educated in how to support themselves through their cycle and what that looks like in that monthly seasonal change. And so it's like the pushing on, and then having a baby, getting on with it. That was my experience. It's like, cool, 2 weeks postpartum, I feel okay. Let's get back into life intensely. That was my second experience of pretty major body burnout and health issues, because I didn't give myself that time and space to nourish and recuperate and rest and build my body back up. And
Yeah, and it's so necessary. And this isn't just things that we should have been told as girls. If our whole culture was educated about our boyfriends, our, husbands, the fathers of our children would just know this is what we do. This is how we take care of our partner who's just had a child. This is how I take care of my, girlfriend whose period is really horrible this month. This is how, it would just be a kind of given understanding of how we care for ourselves and each other.
Yeah. I think in a workplace environment as well, again, that's not really integrated in many workplaces, but it would make a big difference if it was.
Yeah. It would make an enormous difference, and it would make it's horrible that we have to sell it back as productivity and KPIs, but at the end of the day, it would 100% reflect in better productivity and better KPIs and better everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. As of today, I've finished my period officially. Not like forever. I'm not even Haven't reached the menopause phase yet. But this morning I said to Chris, hey, I noticed that you follow this guy. It's this guy, and he has like all his reels are him massaging his partner at different periods in her cycle. So it's like, and this is how you care for your woman when she's the first day of her bleed, and this is how you care for her when she's ovulating. And I'm like sending this to Chris. Like, you just need to massage me every day in different places and I'll be happy.
I think this is just really sensible, well-planned behavior.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, so good.
It's like, hey Siri, put an appointment for my massage with Philly. Delete. No, don't delete. Right.
You know what though? This is a really beautiful moment to share. And again, like, I am absolutely an open book, because I feel like I'm not sharing from the wound, I'm sharing from the scar. And I also just think, like, the more open we are about things within reason and in, you know, appropriate places, there's no shame. There's no shame in any of this. But in that kind of burnout place where I was in my, like, I was 46 or something at the time. And part of that, I had these horrendous, like, absolutely grim, we will not go into the details, but very, very troubling pelvic symptoms. And I was very newly in a relationship, and Mark very quickly realized that it was like on day 12 every month, like, life got pretty scary. And it was in his calendar. And it was in his calendar for about 18 months. He would literally get an alert because I would not be okay. And I would be trying my hardest to deal with whatever I was dealing with. And it didn't go on for 18 months. But what I would hear from him is that every now and again, he would then, after things were okay, be like, oh, but aren't you due today? And I'd be like, mate, how do you, like, what, give me your phone. What's going on? And he was, which is, you know, like, that was the first time I'd experienced that in any kind of long-term partnership. And it was so simple. It was the simplest thing, and it was free, and it didn't cost him, and he didn't have to spend hours working something out. He didn't have to, like, renovate the bathroom on day 12 every month. He just needed to understand that I was going to be really struggling and that I was doing everything I possibly could to sort myself out. And that care and kindness is just so, so lovely to be on the, you know, to have, obviously. And if more men understood that, there'd be less friction in most households, you know.
Picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah. Me and my daughter we're pretty in sync with our cycle, where one starts and then a few days later the other one does. But as you're talking, it's been very interesting because she's pretty new to her period. But it's like, I can totally notice the fluctuations and the changes. And initially she had a pretty big meltdown and wasn't the best parenting situation on my behalf. But after that, I was like, oh, you got your period the next day. That's why. So, which was good learning as a mother as well, that it's like, if I'm noticing different cues that show up, it's like, give her a bit of space and grace and a bit more care, because she's just going through something a bit hormonally at the moment. And in a week's time, she'll be back to her perky self.
And I love that you say that, because I will often talk to my peri clients and give them that exact same advice. And I would say to them, like, you know, and if they do have teenage daughters, even more so, but I would say, would you tell your teenage daughter to just suck it up, get on with it, stop making up the brain fog, stop all the hard, horrible things that we say to ourselves if we're having a tricky week or a tricky month, or we're going through a season of change, because we are basically going through reverse puberty. This, you know, similar processes happening, just back to front. What kind of care would we offer our 12-year-old daughter? And could we gift some of that, even just a fraction of that, to ourselves, instead of being like, you know, come on, what's
go to school
on?
Toughen up.
Off your pop.
Yeah, off your pop.
Get off the TV. Go for a hike.
Wonder what it's going to be like when our youngest, we have two daughters. Oh, I hope you all sync up.
Oh, yeah, it makes it easier for you.
It'd just be like, okay, this is the week where things are going to be special, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be very straightforward. I bet you it won't.
you will have 1 week a month to yourself. And then
Oh, that'd be awesome.
You touched on the physical changes that are happening in the perimenopause phase. What about metaphysical, kind of like identity piece, emotions, psychosocial stuff?
Yeah.
Because it's
All
a
of
big
it.
change. It's not just a physical
Massive.
change. It's like so much else is changing.
It's massive, and I feel really, really, really strongly about this because I think my generation, and perhaps even those that are 5, 10 years older than me, we didn't necessarily see our mothers do menopause. There wasn't necessarily, I mean, some of us potentially, yes, but I think cross-culturally, we didn't see this eldering process. We saw women trying as hard as they could to be everything to everyone and stay as young as possible and then kind of just vanish potentially. And that's a generalization, but I think that was certainly, has been my experience, and a lot of clients that I speak to and friends that I speak to, that's their kind of, what even is this eldering process that we're in, if you want to use that language. I do think it is a really spiritual process, and that can look whatever that word means to you, depending on your faith, depending on what kind of, relationship you have with God or, the universe. I personally feel like it has deepened my trust in myself and deepened my trust in everything that's bigger than me. And I think that has been really helpful for me to kind of really anchor into. And so I can imagine, those with even stronger structured faiths might find that really, really helpful. I think often in a lot of faiths, there is a proper eldering process. And when you get older, you've got a job and a role and a function that's really valuable. And so I do feel like there's an opportunity. I'm not necessarily a hugely hopeful person by personality, but I really am hopeful in this era that we're in and the kind of generation that we are, that there's an opportunity to create that eldership role in a way that's functional and meaningful and gives some balance to the very youth obsessed culture that we in. But at the minute, it feels a little bit like ice picking, like being the first one to ice pick your way to the top of Everest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because I can't think of a narrative that I use, and I haven't heard it from you, Chris, around like, aging being bad, wrinkles being bad or ugly. But our youngest, she will regularly say to me, "You're so wrinkly. You're so old." And she'll say it in a negative tone, like a ew. And so I'm like, where the heck? Because you didn't get it from us. So obviously, like just culture and society at large, whether it's the things that she's watching through technology or the conversations that are happening at school, it's so interesting. And every time she says it, I stand in my power and I'm like, I love my wrinkles.
Yeah.
I love my wrinkles because like I'm living and I am getting older, and I love getting older. I feel the best I've ever felt in my whole life. Physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. And I'm hoping that that's like seeding into her psyche because she's still saying it, but it was just interesting as you were saying that. I'm like, it's so like it is. Yeah, it's like the obsession with youth as being like the better thing. When personally, my experiences, I'm loving getting older.
Yeah. Well, life experience doesn't come any other way than literally having been here for a long time.
Yeah.
And it sounds so obvious, but I feel like I follow Dr. Sarah Mackay. She's brain scientist. I want to give her correct title. Very, very fabulous scientist here in Australia. And she's posting a lot about brain changes in midlife and all these sorts of things. I saw a beautiful post from her about the astronauts, and she was very cleverly just saying they didn't send 20-year-olds to space, kids. All of them were Gen Xers, you
Yeah,
know, and it was
true.
their experience and their qualifications and their life skills and being able to deal with change and adversity and whatever else was on that list of the skill set that you needed to have. They were all in their late 40s, early 50s. And I was like,
Mm,
well, thank you very much.
interesting. Yeah, yeah. Chris is very much getting into acting. And I think I might have made a remark. It's like, you're a bit old to make it now. And he's like, no. And he rattled off all these people that became famous
Yeah.
I
actors.
know all of the ones.
And then, I don't know, because of the conversation, I think I was getting stuff in my feed around like, and this person became a really successful business owner in their 50s, and this one in their 60s, and this one in their 70s. And I'm like, well, it makes sense because we're so much wiser and talented
Yeah.
and skillful. And, if you've done some healing work, generally
Yeah.
like that sense of self and groundedness in self is like,
Yeah.
you become unstoppable
For sure.
without that push, prove and defend energy of like, I have to do it.
Yes. And so many of our skills really are transferable. Like we've, navigated things, grown businesses, grown whole people. There's so much of our life skill that we can then put into action in other ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's a need to be, this kind of notion that you fall off a cliff at some particular age, I think is very unhelpful and at worst quite dangerous.
Yeah. Okay, so if we're having a conversation about perimenopause,
Hmm.
we have to talk about HRT. We
Oh
have
yeah.
to, because everyone always asks me this question. It's like, what are your thoughts about HRT? What are your thoughts, Dr.
Oh
Keri?
my goodness. So many thoughts. Look, I am never, and I can apply this answer to pretty much literally everything. I'm never anti anything. It's always, and what's the, situation that I'm applying this to, right?
Yeah.
So I think and I've got lots of clients who are taking HRT and they're still having acupuncture. I've got lots of clients who are coming for acupuncture because they don't want to take HRT or can't, or have decided for whatever reason it's not right for them. HRT does what it says on the tin. In an ideal world, I'm not against like Band-Aid therapies. There's often times where there are some really, really, really difficult symptomologies and you need them addressed very swiftly, and then you can go back and have a look at what else is going on.
Yeah.
Medical menopause, for example, you absolutely need the care of somebody to prescribe you HRT. If you've just had surgery, your ovaries taken out, or something else going on, absolutely. There's very little point from my clinical experience, unless you've got some other medical situation, to just decide to raw dog that experience. That would be very, very hard.
Yeah.
There is an enormous amount of fear-based selling of HRT on Instagram by US doctors because they can do different things over there. That is not based in actual data. That is not helpful. I absolutely think women should have the education and access to medical practitioners and medications. I think that should just be the kind of ground that we're all starting on. I don't think it's I know from my own clinical experience, it's not a one-stop magic wand fix for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen. that is how I feel as well. And I think too, because
this is the way.
this is the way. Like, it's not I think when because there are some practitioners that are very anti. It's like, never take anything prescribed from a doctor. And I think that that's actually very unhelpful, especially for those women who are in a crisis point with some symptoms that could actually be dialed down really quickly.
It's black and white. It's all or nothing,
And I just don't
always
think
context.
that there needs to be in all health. And look, it's tricky because your average GP, for a start, needs to know everything about everything from granddad's heart issue to the 8-week-old's rash. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's not exactly fair and reasonable to expect that person to suddenly also be a HRT expert, right? So I think, accessing healthcare where they really have had the time to really understand that. The study that I often reference was in 2021, where they did a study looking at women's perception of their education of HRT and what they do or don't know about it, and whether the medical profession actually even know anything about it, and the planned outcomes after that study were that they needed to basically revamp the entire education system. That is going to take some time. So finding the right person to prescribe you something might actually be harder than you think, and that's unfortunate, but you really do need to advocate for yourself. But then if you know and understand that it isn't a one-stop shop, that it's not all about crashing estrogen levels, and that it is about nervous system health, endocrine system health, diet, that you can, get care from a bunch of different places as well. And again, that's not easy, and I wish it was. Come and see me on the Gold Coast. I don't know, I'll find you an acupuncturist wherever you live. But we do need to take ownership and responsibility and go, okay, this is unfortunate that I didn't get educated before now, but I'm here now. There is not actually going to be one person to save me, and that can be incredibly frustrating.
Yep. Yep. And then there's like gut health and detoxification, or like all the other body systems and all the different like energetic, emotional parts of us are all so closely interacting with the sex hormones. There's also a difference between synthetic HRT and bioidentical forms of HRT as well. So the latter, the body will actually process and metabolize and respond to in a more
slightly different way.
In a different way. Okay.
As long as your liver detoxification pathways are also talking to you.
Yep. Okay, last question around perimenopause. What are your go-to toolbox if someone is having some SOS or needing some SOS support around their hormones, and then also long-term interventions, healing protocols?
Oh, look, I'm an acupuncturist. I'm going to say, acupuncture, absolutely. It is going to support, it's going to support all of you. So if your health concerns are because of stress, long-term stress, history of burnout, then even if you do need and eventually end up with HRT, it's not going to sort that out. You know what I mean? So seeing somebody who eventually can help you piece together some of your pieces, so that you might end up going to see a GP first and getting HRT, and maybe that will be helpful for you, right? And to leave it at that, I think, is non-ideal. Yeah. Looking at stress really, really, really honestly, would be one of the first things. Where can I cut out some things? Where can I improve my sleep? Where can I eat more green things? Is it possible to drink less wine and eat less sugar? Like, start with the basics before you then start. I've got a lot of clients, I've taken all the menopause herbs and they don't work for me. And it's like, well, were they the herbs that were actually right for you?
Yeah. And were the
Because
foundations in place as well?
Yeah,
Like,
were the
how
foundations
are
in place?
you
Because if you're
feeding
not
your
sleeping
body?
and you're not eating, then
Yeah.
all the herbs in the world aren't going to necessarily subsides.
Yeah. I have a client who, so in conjunction with working with us, she regularly gets acupuncture, I think every 2 weeks. And she's like, my cycle, my hormones, so good.
Yeah.
And this is going way back. Another client, because of COVID, I don't think there were acupuncturists. I think that was like state dependent, but she couldn't get into her acupuncturist because of lockdown, and noticed a massive like negative impact because of that with her hormones. Yeah.
And stress of COVID absolutely would have flung everything out of
Yes.
for sure.
Yes, there were layers. Okay, so thank you so much for sharing all of that good stuff. I think it's a conversation that we need to have more regularly. And Chris and I are also really excited because you're coming into our Ending Body Burnout Method program. When this podcast released, you'll actually be coming in the following week, and we will be focusing more on emotional well-being from a Chinese medicine perspective. Are you happy to give a little teaser around where you'll be guiding our clients?
We'll be chatting all about the water element in TCM, which relates to the kidneys, to the adrenals, to the Chinese medicine spirit of the Ji, which roughly translates as the willpower. So often, willpower gets a bit of a bad rap because, like we've just said, you try and push through, but there's ways to nourish that element so that you've got long-term energy and long-term fuel, and not just running on hot, fast fuel.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good. I can't wait to get
Looking
more of your
forward to
goodness. And you also have a couple of courses. So you've got your Peri-Menopause course for practitioners.
Yes.
And also your emotional wellbeing course. Can you talk into that? And I'll make sure that the show notes have the link and disclaimer.
Thank you. Yeah, the Peri for Practitioner class has been running for 3 years now. So I did the most recent live version at the beginning of this year. There are a good few hours of me talking about all sorts of content. There's articles, workbooks, audios in there to really cover all elements of clinical practice and all of the things that you're likely to see your clients come in with, and to be able to support them with however you treat, whether it's with herbs, with acupuncture, of course, or even if you're a GP, but to be able to really lean into that Chinese medicine wisdom. We've been treating women in this season of life. The oldest textbooks date back 2,000 years. So it's one of those things where it's not seen as a sudden illness. It's something that we've been treating in the course of every season of life.
Yeah. That's cool. And I think you've got a discount code for 25% off?
25% off, use code Philly.
Awesome. We'll make sure all of that is in the show notes.
Thank you so much, love. Thank you so much. This has been just such a hoot.
So good.
Thanks for coming on. It's amazing. And thanks, everybody. We'll invite you to check out the links down below. And thanks, everyone, for joining us. We'll chat to you next time.
Thank you so much for listening. We so appreciate you. If you'd like to give us extra smiles, drop us a review and spread the love by sharing this episode.
You can also rate your own state of burnout and the root cause contributors by taking our Ending Body Burnout Assessment on our website. And if you're interested in learning about our group or one-on-one Ending Body Burnout programs, shoot us a DM via Instagram or Facebook.
Have the best day ever.